The Mermaid's Christmas Adventure. The old man sat on the rocks, enjoying the last warm rays of the setting sun. He was supposed to be fishing, but he didn't really care whether he caught a fish or not. He just loved listening to the sounds of the sea and dreaming of the wonderful creatures that lived beneath the surface. But all that changed as the fishing rod suddenly twitched in his hands. As the rod bent, the old man had to hold on with both hands. "Ho, ho, ho!" he cried. "This will be a big one." It certainly was big, but it wasn't a fish at all. A little mermaid soared into the sky, her tail tangled in the old man's fishing line. "Oh, I'm so sorry," he called out to her as she splashed back into the sea. "Please let me help you." He gently guided her onto the rock, and together they began to untangle the fishing line from her tail. "I've been around the world many times, but I've never met a mermaid before. What's your name?" "Morvoren," she said. "It means sea maiden." "What's your name?" asked Morvoren. "And why do you travel around the world so much?" "Ah, that's a long story," said the old man kindly, "but I'm very pleased to meet you." "Well, that's your tail for you, Morvoren. How does it feel?" The little mermaid answered with a flick of her tail. She pointed out towards a rocky island. "That's where I live, over there on Seal Island. We have a beautiful underwater cave, and every day I swim with my seal friends." He smiled and said, "This is the last of my holiday, and tomorrow I return to my home in the far north. But I'll be back before long, and I hope to see you again." "I hope so," said Morvoren, as she dived away under the water. Back on Seal Island, she told her mare parents all about the strange encounter. "Goodness, I hope your tail's all right. Did the old man have a white beard?" Mermother asked. "Yes, it was a very long white beard, like wise old Neptune," said Morvoren. "I think I know who he is," said Mermother, "and I have a feeling it won't be too long before he returns." As the weeks went by, the weather grew cold and the sea was often stormy. It didn't matter to the Mer family, who still loved to sit together on the rock and watch the sun set and the moon rise. One beautiful moonlit evening, they heard an unusual sound. It seemed to be coming from the twinkling stars. As they watched, a stranger in a strange flying boat appeared in front of their eyes. It was being pulled across the sky by creatures Morvoren had never seen before. It seemed as if they had seaweed growing out of their heads, and the sound was not coming from the stars at all. It was coming from the seaweed. The flying boat swooped down and landed on the rocky island. "Ho, ho, ho!" said an old man with a long white beard. Morvoren recognized him immediately. "I knew it," said Mermother. "It's Santa Claus." The Mer people had often heard stories of a time in deep winter when the land children were all given special presents. "How would you like to come with me and the reindeer on a special mission tonight, Morvoren? I have lots of presents to deliver, and I could do with a helping hand. Look, there's space for you on my sleigh, and a warm blanket for your shoulders." Morvoren was so excited, but looked towards her parents, Mer parents, who smiled and nodded their approval. In a flash, Morvoren flicked herself up to sit by her new friend Santa Claus. "We'll be back right before sunrise. Hold tight, Morvoren. Here we go. Ho, ho, ho!" Up and away they flew in a flurry of tinkling bells and huffing and puffing reindeer. Morvoren, the little mermaid from Seal Island, was the first ever flying mermaid. They flew along the rocky coastline towards the nearest town. From the air it looked like a fairyland, the harbor glittering with colored lights and tinsel-decorated Christmas trees. The sleigh landed gently on top of a snowy roof. Morvoren watched in amazement as Santa grabbed a snack and with a mischievous wink disappeared down the chimney. A minute later, he popped back out again with an empty sack and a bunch of carrots for the reindeer. Now she knew what to do. At each stop, she handed Santa the next sack, and while he was gone, she fed the reindeer. They were a great team together, and stopped off at all the houses in the town, and then zoomed off to the next town. They visited all the little farms and cottages along the way. Morvorn was enchanted to see the many different homes where the children lived. Santa was busy the whole night, disappearing down chimney after chimney, sometimes returning with delicious food for them, called mince pies, and more carrots for the reindeer. What a strange night this is, thought Morvorn, and my best adventure ever. They flew to the very end of the land, and then over the seas where the mer people lived, to the islands beyond. As first light dawned, Morvorn saw that below them was the harbor where she first met Santa Claus. Now she knew his name and the story of why he traveled around the world so much. As the sleigh landed back on Seal Island, the mer family and her seal friends were all gathered round to greet them. "Thank you, Morvorn, for all your help," said Santa Claus. "I don't have much time, but I'd like to give you something to remember our adventure. I have to admit, I'm a bit puzzled as I've never chosen a present for a mermaid before." One of the reindeer shook his antlers, and a little bell dropped at Santa's feet. "Well done, my dear. That's exactly right." He picked up the little golden bell and presented it to Morvorn. With a final wave and a Merry Christmas to all, Santa Claus and the reindeer flew up and away into the ever-brightening sky. "See you next year, Santa," called Morvorn. "See you next year."